All right, what's going on? It's me, your man, Kev Nash. This is the Rewind Podcast. Appreciate everybody checking out last week's episode on 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. Rez, did you listen to that pod yet?
The Get Rich or Die Trying?
Yeah.
Not yet. Was there a
Your
reference
name
to
came up. Of
that?
course. Of course. Like I said before, I got my man RDP. He's back in the building. What's up, brother?
Hey man, I'm doing good, brother. Good to be on here with me.
Oh, lost it for a hot second.
So this is gonna be quality.
For sure. First appearance, Jimmy Mac. What's up, bro?
What's going on, man? What's going on? Good to see y'all brothers, man.
Man, everything good with you, man, and the family?
Yeah, man, I can't complain, man. 2020 been all right.
Oh, man, something we definitely like to do on the Rewind, man, is to look back at some of the albums that came out in the year this release, man. Of course, we doing Juvenile 400 Degreez, man. So in the year 1999, man, the Locks dropped Money, Power, Respect. Silk the Shocker, Charge It to the Game. 8 Ball dropped Lost. Master P, The Last Don. Nori dropped Nori. Snoop dropped The Game Is to Be Sold, Not Told. Lauryn Hill, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Exhibit, 40 Days, 40 Nights. Fat Joe, Don Cartagena. Canada's dropped his debut album. Jay-Z dropped Volume 2. Outkast dropped Aquemini. Redman dropped Docs the Name. Method Man dropped To Cal 2000. DMX dropped Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, and Dark Pits Hell is Hot, man. What did y'all think about that year in hip-hop in 1998?
I mean, it was a good one, man. A lot of the stuff that you just said was a lot of stuff I was listening to. It froze for a second, so I don't know if you said, I didn't hear you say Outkast, Aquemini, or Streets is Watching, but it was just a lot of good music. A lot of stuff I was listening to. I mean, that was the college days, so we had a lot more time on our hands. But I mean, there was when I
Right.
went back, it was like 10, 15 albums that I know I had. So it was a
Yeah,
good year.
Facts. What
yeah.
about you, Mac?
Musically, 98, man, was a jam-packed year. And you need to put some respect on No Limit's name, because they owned the year. You dig? I mean, Mac, Fiend,
Yeah,
Silk
everybody came out.
Shocker, Soldier Slim, Young Bleed. I mean, come on, man. They own the year.
I'm Mac, I'm glad you brought that up. I was gonna touch on that a little bit later, but since you brought it up, bro, now people that know you and know the way you live your life and know how conscious you are and everything like that, one would imagine that you're a Nas listener, a Common Sense, X Clan, but that couldn't be further from the truth. You are hood to the core when it comes to music.
Yeah, this music is trash. I don't want to hear that shit. I read. I mean, I'm just keeping 100, man. Life is about balance. You know what I'm saying? And I have a ridiculous library. I watch documentaries and I do all of that. But that shit's not entertaining when I want to hear some music, man. If you not shooting, killing, selling no dope, you ain't spending no money. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't at the girls, I don't want to hear it musically. You know what I'm saying? I like what I call the Tupac formula of consciousness. Give me 13 Thug Passions and 2 Brendas Have a Baby, and you got a great album.
Yeah. You
Man,
gotta
so
have
how
a
do you
perfect.
keep that? Go ahead, Rich.
No, I was just saying you gotta have a perfect mix of righteous and ratchet. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, there's gotta be a balance. You gotta have both.
That's for sure, man. That's for sure, man. So, Mac, so we just cleared, man. You view music strictly as entertainment, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let me back that up. There is a space for the conscious music and for people who get information and learning through music, right? That's just not my space.
So we got to rewind to the year 1998. Reg, what was going on with you in 98?
So that was year 2 at Wright State. Where
I'm
was
glad
I?
you called it year 2 and not sophomore year.
Yeah, because technically year 3 was sophomore year. Where I was living. That was the year I was living with Lav in College Park. So that was a lot of shenanigans going on. I don't know where I was working. I know I had a bunch of places at the mall that I worked at. That might have been a McDonald's time too. So a lot of odd jobs just to make sure I had some money to get into the multi-purpose room parties.
Mhm.
What
Not,
about you,
not much
Mac?
going on.
So 98 was a interesting year for me. Um, so at the beginning, like Reg, I was this my first sophomore year. I did 8 years of undergrad, and I'm proud of my 8 years. So it was my second. It was my first sophomore year in college, and man, a great time off the hook. Me and my cousin Kendall had upgraded to a double in Hawthorne. Uh, that's when my pre-pledging had started. You know what I'm saying? Messing around with the brothers of Z Todd chapter. Uh, Man, it was an amazing year. A lot of, I think 98 probably was when I first started to really go to different universities, man, and road trip a lot. But the end of 98, that was the year that I sat out. Um, I didn't come back the the end, I think, when the year started back up the next year. So yeah, it was an interesting year.
Yeah, man. Much like both y'all, man. 98 was very interesting, man. We all was at Wright State together. But the biggest thing about 98 for me that I remember is my grades went so down south, bro. Like, Reg, you talked about how, what I'm saying, it was our second year, but, what I'm saying, it wasn't our sophomore year. Like, I was very close to being a sophomore after freshman year. My grades were fine. Like, they were perfectly fine. But it was really that year where, me, Reg, Lav, Nate, AP, Dave, like, we started really kicking it. And
Mhm.
just to be perfectly honest, looking back on it, kicking it way too much. But it's like you said, Mac, you can't live with regrets. You know what I'm saying? You talked about 8 years in undergrad and being proud of it. I'm proud of
Mhm.
so many things that happened at Wright State, and I'm proud to say like I was able to, what I'm saying, nosedive it and bring it back up, so to speak. And
Yeah.
it was so much kicking it that went on, and Rez, you know how much basketball we played, basically hooping 5 days a week, hanging out at the union instead of going to class. It was just a completely different space going on with everybody. You know what I'm saying? And to be perfectly honest, man, I'm surprised so many of us actually still made it out and graduated, man, as much kicking it
Right.
as we was doing.
Yeah. And like to follow up, now that I thought about it a little bit more, Kev, with intramurals, was that the head buster days? Is that when we had the
Yes,
head
sir.
busters?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So yeah, there was just like you said, my freshman year grades was fine. It's just I didn't have a bunch of credit hours. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
forget how many you're supposed to have, but I was like half of what you were supposed to have. And then 98 is when like I started like slipping and not having like waiting to do my homework at 12 and stuff like that, where that's just you can't do that. You can't sustain that. You know,
Yeah.
you going out and hanging out first right after class is over, being on the, being in the quad, then, going to the cafeteria or whatever and just being out all day to go hoop. And then like the priorities was just way messed up until I got that
Mhm.
letter. Got that letter in the summertime. And then things had to change at 99. After 99 and up, I was Gucci.
Right.
Me
98,
too. Did
dumpster fire.
Reg, did you intercept a letter from your parents?
I did. I did. I still had to tell my moms because so we had to go back up there and during the summer and like talk to somebody Because there was like there was one class where the teacher didn't put in something that I had, which made it go from like a C to a B, and then the GPA went to whatever it's supposed to be for you to be able to stay in school. So it wasn't high, but you had to have a 2.0, it put me like to a 2.02 or something like that. So I was able to get back in there. But yeah, it was definitely dicey, definitely dicey.
Yeah. Super dicey on my side too, man. I remember after that whole school year went past, and like I always laugh at people, especially now. Like I talk to my younger cousins, everything that's in school. Like, man, the teacher don't like me. They giving me bad grades on purpose. Like, nah, I know for sure. I knew when I was about to fail a test. Like, yo, I'm about to fail this, dog. Like, I didn't crack the book. Like, they're not giving you a bad grade because they don't like you. You're getting yourself a bad grade because you didn't crack the book because you was out having too much fun. And it got to the point during that sophomore year or second year, like I just didn't even take the test because, like, what's the point? Like, I don't know what's on here. I'm gonna just say abracadabra all the way down and be wasting more time. Like, forget it. Like, I chalked it. And I remember intercepting the letter at home in Cleveland, and I just hid it. And I told my brother, he was like, so what you gonna do? He's like, nigga, you can stay here and be at mommy house for the rest of your life, or get your shit together. And I decided to get my shit together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mac, how did you said that you had to leave school, but you found your way back? How did that process go for you?
Well, just real quick before I get to that, because I would be remiss if I didn't mention this after you mentioned, basketball.
Oh gosh.
Like, I used to give y'all the blues on the hoop court.
I
Like, we
remember
used to
that.
have some battles. Oh, please tell the truth.
You got any footage? You got any footage?
Well, there is that one situation that everybody remember, the coldest pump fake ever.
That was on Nate. That was not on me. I was at the 3-point line. I don't know. Hey, man, what happens underneath the basket between y'all?
Yeah, but that situation, man, going back home, was crazy. I was home for a year, just working, and then I always knew I was coming right back. But it was. I'm gonna tell you the craziest part of that year is I was out on the block. It was probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and a young dude. He was a lot younger than me. He happened to roll up on me. He was like, "Man, what is you doing out here?" And I was like, he was like, "This ain't you." I was like, "You right. I can't wait to take my ass back to school." So yeah, that was just one of the things. Like, I mean, it was all in the plans, but it was like, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Soon as the next fall, what were we on? We was on quarters. Quarters coming, I'm out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's what's up, man. So, man, y'all fellas ready for a little couple tracks that we can jump into? Some of our favorite tracks off the album?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, obviously, we're talking about Juvenile, 400 Degreez. It dropped November 3rd of 1998. Now, Reg, I know you was hip to Juvie from the jump. You loved Huh from the rip, man. Talk about how you found out about Juvie, and I want to hear that story about you driving the laugh show crazy.
So I remember it like it was yesterday. It was one and the first time I heard it, the reason I remember so vividly is because it was like my whole time at Wright State, I may have stepped foot in the ham 5 times, maybe. I didn't mess with that place. Uh, and I was hanging out with the Chi girls, Marja, Tiffany, I forget some of the other names. I was hanging out with them in their room, and I one of them played it, and I was like, "What is this magic that I'm listening to here? I've never heard such a just saying the same thing over and over again, at the end of a bar." And it was like, "This is fantastic. You got to let me burn this." Well, it wasn't even burned because it was a tape. I had to take it back and record it. So she gave me the cassette of it. I took it back. I was staying with Lav Show. I no lie, I think I played it like 40 times in a row, bro. I mean, it was like nighttime too. It was like 1 to 2 o'clock, something like that. And like Lav was like, "Come on, man." I was like, "This is my shit, dog. This is new age shit right here, man. This is legendary shit I'm listening to right here. You are a part of a special point of time to hear this song." And it's like, it's back when I had to physically every time get back up and rewind it. Like, you know what I'm saying? They ain't hitting the button like now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to get up, rewind it. And luckily it was like the first song, so I didn't have to like time it. It just boom, went back to it. I played it like 30, 40 times in a row, dog. It was a fantastic night. For me anyway. Live Show hated it, but for me it was fantastic. One of the only times I was in the ham.
Man,
And that's the masterpiece I come out with.
man, for me, man, I hated this song so much.
Mm.
I despised it. Cause y'all know me, man. Y'all know I was super Wu-Tang, super hip hop, super New York stuff. If it wasn't from New York, if they weren't talking them lyrics, matter of fact, I was big West Coast with Death Row, but like it was really Wu-Tang and everything like that I was heavy on, and I just wasn't ready for the South to take over hip hop, and it just sounded so country because it was country. I mean, and then the video. I just was like, what in the heck? Like, it reminded me of some shit that I would see, like, in back home in Cleveland. Like, yo, this just look like a bunch of niggas in East Cleveland made a song, and it's terrible. He's not rhyming. He's not rapping. He's just saying, huh, every 5 seconds. I hated it so much. Until one of the most epic parties at Wallabies. It came on. I saw the reaction of everybody else. So at that point, I just took it as a club song. I was like, all right, well, fine. It's a club song. A club song serves a purpose. But then I finally listened to it and finally heard the lyrics in it and like heard what he was actually saying. He wasn't just saying, you do this, huh? You do that, huh? You do that, huh?
Yeah.
He was actually saying stuff in between the hums. And the beat was crazy. I always liked the beat. The beat was crazy. Manny Fresh did his thing with the beat. So where was you at with it, Mac?
I was back at the crib, man, in the second ward of Hamilton, Ohio, chilling outside of the projects, hanging out when I heard it. Now, for me, I'm with you, Kev. I was like, this song is terrible. Like, the beat was hot. My thing was, is he rapping? Is he rhyming the word before ha? Like, I was trying to see, like, can we even call this rap? Like, and the first version, it was hit or miss with whether or not he was actually rhyming the word before ha. So I was like, okay, these lines, yeah. The next one, not so much. Me, and I was a diehard No Limit fan.
Right.
Half of my CD case was all No Limit. So I was like, hell, I don't know. But man, when I spent some of that money that I was saving and got me a old school Saber with the navy blue paint job with the Vogues and the peanut butter top, I was like, hey, I gotta wang this after serving Vegas. So at that point, riding around the hood, I was like, hey, this go hard. So I was the same reaction that you had, Kev.
That's what's up, man. Man, you gotta give it to Juvie as well as Manny Fresh for really putting Cash Money on, because I mean a lot of people know Cash Money and it's the label that Wayne is a part of and Birdman and everything like that. But without this album right here, you don't get everything else later. Without the production of Manny Fresh, as a matter of fact, Manny Fresh produced this entire album. So we got to give them dudes their flowers for putting Cash Money on and making them one of the hottest labels ever, man. Because think about it, they really started with the masses in '98 with this album, and they still going to this day. You know what I'm saying? So you got to give them big props for that, man. So the second single they dropped off this album was "Follow Me," And I remember the video, and I still wasn't there with it. I still wasn't there with Juvie and this movement. And I mean, all I saw was just like, it's just some niggas that just doing something. They're not making real music, especially coming from the video. It just, the white tees and jeans is like, that's what we wear. Like, y'all supposed to be rappers. Y'all supposed to be superstars. Y'all supposed to be like people we aspire to be. Like, we dress like that. Y'all not supposed to dress like that. Y'all supposed to be next level. Wear the camo. Where the jewelry at. Wear like all this other stuff that we associate with being a superstar and rap. They just weren't doing it, because you gotta remember, this is the bad boy era at that point. This shiny suit era too. Yeah. So it's like, yo, this is a totally different feel of music. So where was y'all at with Follow Me?
With me listening back, I don't really remember this one. I mean, like,
okay,
it wasn't one that was on my radar. So like, I had to listen to it a couple times, and then I started remembering it. But like, it wasn't, definitely the title didn't get me. But even when I listened to it again, I was like, yeah, I had to listen to it a couple times before I'd be like, oh yeah, I do remember this one. So I know this one didn't really hit home for me. I'm not sure where I was back then with it, but like, if I don't remember it now, it probably wasn't, it probably got skipped, to be honest with you. Because back then, we in college, we listening for singles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, facts. What about you, Mac?
Yeah, this was dumpster juice. This was like the whole like Miami Nights Cuban vibe to it. I'm like, man, what is this? And then the video didn't make it any better, because back then that was a time where videos was huge, and the video could make you like a song that you ain't like at first. But the video didn't even do it for me. I was like, yo, this was like a this was like a Cash Money Pitbull song or something. I was like, yeah, this not hitting.
It didn't match them at all.
No, not at all. I was like, this was a stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also like you said, man, like the video, but like their wardrobe, I mean, they was famous for the white tees, Jabot jeans, and Reeboks. And like you was talking about with Cash Money, like no, I mean, I'm sorry, No Limit, like you got to make them say video. Like they coming out with leather jerseys. It's like almost like, they putting on a show, and everything like at that time, from my standpoint, with Cash Money was, camcorder, let's go guerrilla style and shoot it ourselves. Like it just didn't have that, seemed like it had that money behind it. That's how I felt about it.
Yeah. Now
so another track. Go ahead,
P. Like they were just them. You know what I'm saying? It was they weren't marketing everything. They was putting out their music, dressing how they dressed. Like this is how it is where we are. Where No Limit was like more for the entertainment. They had the tanks. They had, you know what I'm saying? Even though they was in the gym in the one movie, the video, it was like fireworks and shit. Like they were more for the show. They were more for the show.
Yeah, and that's a totally change now, because how we see videos now is people, being themselves. It isn't like this big show that everybody's putting on. Is the show is them being themselves 9 times out of 10 at a strip club.
Yeah. Or a rented mansion.
Gotta have a rented mansion.
Yeah.
So another track I wanted to ask y'all about, man. What are y'all memories of rich niggas? This is like our first introduction to Lil Wayne and Turk. And I never knew how big of a song this was outside of, our school, until we went to Miami that once spring, Reg, when they played it at the club, and people down in Miami was rocking to Rich Niggas, and I was blown away. I thought it was just like a regional hit for us, but I didn't know it was that big of a record. Where was you at with Rich Niggas, Reg?
This shit was hard as hell, dog, and it's still hard as hell. Like this is a classic right here, buddy. This you play this on Versus. You know what I'm saying? you do like that's something. As soon as that beat come on, you're like, oh shit, dog. And then the way Manny Fresh did the we on fire, like it was just, this one is just absolutely fantastic. This is good music right here. This is good shit.
What up, Mac?
Yeah, they could have. This was my ideal hood rich. Like when you listen to, you know what I'm saying, like the lyrics. My part was when it was like bet 1,000, shoot 1,000. Like
Ain't nothing.
this was
That ain't nothing.
it ain't nothing. I'm in the streets, I'm in the hood. I got jewelry and an old school fixed up. I ain't even got no luxury car. I got an old school on some 24s, chrome, Vogues, wood grain steering wheel. Uh, you can't put nothing in the trunk because it's all speakers. Like gold teeth. This was a hood classic. Like this one right here. Manny Fresh was in his bag on this one. Like
Big facts, big facts.
Manny Fresh was in his bag.
Yeah, that's a classic, man. So we on to probably the biggest song on the album. Back That Ass Up. Did y'all ever think in a million years this would be a song that would stand the test of time? And literally, he says it. Cash Money taking over for the 99 and 2000, and this song gets played every single big function. Like you go to a wedding, this is a wedding song. Like I never thought this would be a wedding song. Where was you at with it, Mac?
This is easily in the club party Hall of Fame. Like hands down. Like I matter of fact, I don't know if it's another song that could take a empty dance floor and pack it out quicker than this song. Like the beat don't even have to drop before you like, oh, that's Back That Ass and you out there on the dance floor. This was that song where like you would be standing at the party behind a girl, like as soon as they play that song, no, all that ass she got, I'm there. Like you in line waiting, like, oh yeah, I'm there. That's the kind of song that you can actually push a nigga out the way to get on the chick, and it'll be like, you know what, I ain't mad at you because you know how wild it's about to get. You like, I feel you, my nigga. Yeah, this one right here though, at the party, God, niggas got pregnant off of this song.
Oh,
Like, straight up, niggas got
Sweat-
chose off
sweaty.
of this song.
Yes, they conceived sweaty and music blasting and rough. It was rough.
This was the Shake That Ass contest song. Like,
Yes.
remember Shake That Ass contest? Like, let's think about that. Like, nigga, Shake That Ass contest and this song come on. I done been to the strip club. I done been in King of Diamonds and this song come on. Matter of fact, I was King of Diamonds once. This song came on and they made an announcement. We are allowing you to pull out your phones and record because it's about to get ugly. I seen a stripper go all the way to the ceiling and turn upside down and get it on the ceiling at Diamonds to this song. So this is in the Hall of Fame. Like, hands down. As a matter of fact, I don't know another club song that you can say better than this. Or has the due to based on reaction.
What about 50 in the club?
It's not the same. It's a good reaction. You know everybody about to have a good time, but it's not the same. It ain't the same. And like for me, I'm sure you're about to come to me, but to me, kind of what Max said, and to go with what you said about like if we knew back then this would be a classic. No, in the moment we're not thinking about that, but it had all the ingredients of a classic if you think back. Because this one, though, it's talking about girls shaking it, like girls would be the first one out there. You know what I'm saying? And this isn't one where they would just be looking to dance with the girls. They'd be like, you know what I'm saying? They were choosing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like they were going out there to shake something. There was like, that's it. There ain't no cute girls doing this. No, it was hands on knees when this came out. And So like when you have the ladies leading that charge, that's a little bit different because they're gonna have that same feeling every time they hear it till they 60 years old. It's gonna get that same reaction out of them. They hit might be mad, but it's gonna get the same reaction. Like,
Mhm.
when they're leading the charge, it's something else. And I do remember like the video on this one. It was definitely, what I'm saying, like I just said about before, them being them. Like this one was in the hood, in the projects. It
Mhm.
was no, Spanish girls coming out with the long hair. It was the hood girls in there going to town. You know what I'm saying? With the
Mhm.
shaking it, and like that was just it was just that's just one of those songs. Like, yeah, it's a classic. Like you can play that out at any time, and even the good girls are gonna start like so. The pretty, what I'm saying, sedity ones are gonna shake it to this song. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
It's more
guarantee you for
classic.
this
Go
video,
ahead, man.
I was gonna say for this video, the budget was probably $350. It was one slab of ribs, 1,000 hot dogs, some chips, and some Fagos, and speakers. And they played the music, and whoever was there got in the video. Like Reg was saying, it wasn't no choreography. They didn't bring no girls in. It wasn't no video vixens in this shoot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was a lot of like struggle and
Mm.
hard time and anguish and mixed with free hot dogs and some speakers and some niggas that had some chains. And it was like action, and you got a dope video out of it. It
Hmm.
was it was girls drooping they pants just a little bit and hiking them thongs up. And
Hmm.
like Red said,
There was no Melissa Fords in this video.
none, none.
It's a classic one.
Yeah, man, that's one thing about a city I've never been to, New Orleans. Mac, you've been to New Orleans before, right?
Yeah, a couple times.
Mhm.
Have you ever been around when this song came on when you were in New Orleans? What was the
Oh,
reaction?
oh, absolutely. I've been to Mardi Gras twice, and I went for work, and then I just went out and kind of hung out. But yeah, any of that, anytime something comes in from New Orleans but Cash Money, they go stupid with it. And the crazy thing is, the women know every word,
Mhm.
and I don't care how old you are, niggas, mamas out there,
Mhm.
aunties, like that come on, and it's professionalism, decorum, all of that out the
Off the way.
window. Let's get it. For this next 4 minutes and 53 seconds,
Yeah.
it's on.
Get it how you live. Come on over here, player. Get it how you live. Because once this song go off, I don't know you and I'm walking away. Immediately.
Right.
Ain't no, hey, what's your name? No, I'm going back to my girls.
Absolutely.
Classic material, man. And we took my favorite song on the entire album, 400 Degrees, the title track. This is the song that made me listen to the entire album because I was one of them people. I was like, all right, I'll listen to it at the party, at the club, whatever, but I'm not going out my way to listen to it. When I heard 400 Degrees, though, I heard it. I forget where I heard it, but it wasn't like in a party setting. It wasn't in somebody's car with a system or anything like that. I think I was just in somebody's dorm room and it came on, and I was like, oh, this nigga kind of spitting. Like, yeah, this shit is alright. So I actually borrowed. Y'all remember Big Pun Brandon? He had it, so I
Mm-hmm.
borrowed his CD, and I listened to it for a good week. I was like, this shit ain't half bad, but I kind of kept it on the low. Like I ain't want nobody to know that I was slowly accepting the fact that the South was taking over like the way they were about to, and they're still taking over to this day. You know what I'm saying? To keep it real, the South still runs hip hop. And they've been running it for over 20 years, man. But 400 Degrees, man, I love this song. I was doing some research, and Juvie said he always wanted this to be the lead single, but Manny Fresh was like, Hum was going to be the single that take Cash Money to where they wanted to go. And he says he still opens every single show with 400 Degreez, and the fans' response to it is crazy because everybody knows every single word to 400 Degreez. Where was you at with 400 Degreez, Mac?
400 Degreez, since that's your favorite song on the album, I think you will respect the fact that it was the hardest opener to a song that I think that I can think of. You see me, I eat, sleep, shit, and talk.
And talk rap.
You see
That
the
98
98
Mercedes on TV.
Mercedes on the TV. I
About
pump that.
that.
I'm like, wait a minute. You got to rewind it. Like, that's some shit you might get on the beginning of the second verse. You know what I'm saying? Or you would get inside of the verse. He came out and just put it out there. You after them first two lines, you like, oh. I will say I think lyrically, from top to bottom, this is the best song lyrically, probably in Juvie's whole catalog. Like lyrically, he went in on this song. So which makes me think if he was kind of on the that 2 Chainz thing where 2 Chainz said he dumbed down his music, you know what I'm saying, for people to rock with it. I wonder if it was a little bit of that going on in some of his songs, because lyrically, if you listen to that song from top to bottom, you like, oh, he was saying some things. You know what I'm saying?
He
Like,
can rap for sure.
Yeah, and I agree with you. To me, this is my favorite song on the album as well. Like, he went in.
What about you, Reg?
Yeah, I mean, just like y'all cat said, this was quality lyrics. You don't, and this made me think about when I listened back to it. I listened to it for like the 4th time this morning, and it just nobody really gives him that type of respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not like a whole bunch of lines that you can be like, oh, that's just spitting bars. But he consistently was putting together stuff you could follow when you listen to it. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Some rappers talk about a car, then a house, then a bitch, and then, you know what I'm saying? They're just all over the place. Like, he's telling a story that you can follow, and like you're comprehending what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's not just words. And he does that all the time. You know what I'm saying? And like this one, like you said, this was one of his best lyrical ones. But and then it made me think also the difference between Cash Money and No Limit 2. Like, there's nobody, I mean, I'll say the Hot Boys. All of those guys can basically, you can follow along, where if you go to the No Limit roster, you can go back, you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? You know what I'm saying? There's, whoa. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're really, really bad lyrically. But like, Turk, all them guys, like, they can rap, man. You know what I'm saying? It might not be like the, Kev, or like Pusha T and the Jadakiss. It's not like that type of lyric, but like you can follow it. It's almost like that's kind of how I look like at T.I. Like, there's not too many just bars at T.I., but like you can just follow and keep it, good storyteller. You know what I'm saying? So that it made me think about how another difference between them is like they kind of cared more about the craft of rap,
Yeah,
not
definitely
just talk.
Juvie definitely cared about the craft of rapping, man. I was doing a little bit of research, and he was just talking about how the first time he went to New York, and they got booed, obviously, because you know how New York think they the shit, especially back then in those days. And then they came back after the album had blew up, and he was getting love, especially for this song 400 Degreez. Like, I think this is one of those songs that nobody can deny. Nobody can deny this is a good song, no matter your allegiance to whatever coast you want to pick. If you're an East Coast, West Coast, especially in that era. Like, I even remember Killer B saying, "Oh yeah, that shit hard," and we know how East Coast heavy Killer B is.
Yeah.
So, Reg, I know for sure you went to the Cash Money Rough Rider show when it came to Wright State. I did not go to that concert. Can you give me a story from that concert?
Bro, yeah, I mentioned that. I don't think I went, dog. I don't have no
You
memory
did.
of
You 100% went. You 100% went.
That was some good
You
kicking
won.
the Reds. You forgot a whole concert.
I remember the concert, like the being of it, but like I don't remember being in that arena. I can't.
1000% you went. because me and Nate didn't make it to the union in time to get tickets because remember they only had so many allotted for student tickets, and there's like, well, y'all can just go ahead and buy the other ones, and the other ones was like double the price, and I was like, I ain't doing it. So I was trying to get Killer B to sneak us into the Nutter Center. It wasn't happening, but yeah, you was at that show. Shit, I believe Dirty Dame came down for that too.
Man, I don't remember that one, dog. I must have been heavy on the Smirnoff Ice that night, dog. I don't remember that at all, bro. Because that was before I was drinking. Yeah,
This nigga said
Smirnoff
Smirnoff Ice.
Drinking might have been flowing that day, dog. Because I don't remember that one at all, bro. And I mean, not.
So I want to talk about Manny Fresh, man. Obviously, Manny Fresh did his versus battle with Scott Storch, man, and you know, do y'all remember how many hits Manny Fresh produced? Like, I want to give him his flowers, man. Like, what's some of y'all favorite Manny Fresh beats?
I mean, off the top of my head, I can't. It was just you got to think he was doing all their music, so like they
Right.
wasn't as rampant as No Limit is putting stuff out, but you know what I'm saying. They was BG stuff like Wayne stuff. He was doing all that. So like, uh, Go DJ is a great one that just popped in my head. Like
Mm,
that's a great song, though. That's a great song. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know. There's just so many. There's so many. It's like I can't even just pick one. I mean, the Go DJ popped in my head, but like there's a bunch of classics, though. Like he did his thing, and that's also one thing like made me think about producers in general because like sometimes people have a sound that's just for a certain era, but like I would have thought Manny Fresh would have been able to continue doing music. Like if
right.
he could have branched out and did stuff with other artists. Like I don't see how creative he was, how his run was short as it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he should have been like a Timberland or a Dr. Like because he had a distinct sound, but like it wasn't all sounding the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's sometimes made me think about producers. Like how does it just stop? Like Little John too. Like how does that just stop?
Yeah, man. The sound changes. The new artists come and they want a different vibe. Like it's very few producers that like stick around for generation after generation. Because I mean, even like look at Timberland. Like Timberland, like he not making too many hip hop records unless it's with Jay Z now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now he's making R&B stuff. Like he's not making stuff for the little babies or the baby or these new generation cats that's taking over the game. You know what I'm saying? They heavy with Zaytoven and them dudes like that. But for me, for Manny Fresh, like when I think of him, I think of Cash Money as an Army beat.
Mm.
I think about T.I. Top Back. I think about Jeezy. And then what? Like, them is some monster beats. And they end up being monster songs, man. Like, he got a lot of heat under his category, man. So I look forward to him doing another versus battle because it was so many songs that he left out of the Scott Scorch battle that I thought like, oh man, that's a guaranteed play that he didn't even do. So I know Swiss Beats was talking about having him come back for another versus battle, man. So I look forward to that. What about you, Mac?
Um, First, I think that excuse me, that versus battle with Scott Storch, I think that was trash. I think Scott Storch was using a lot of beats that he co-produced, and
Mm-hmm.
it was some things in there. I'm like, is this yours? Like it's about 4 people who could say that was theirs. So yeah, I
Right.
thought it was kind of they needed some rules around that battle. And I don't think as a result, Manny Fresh got some of the shine that he should have. Um, some of my favorite be like on even on this album, like Run For It and UPT.
Mm-hmm.
He produced both them cuts. Them like he got busy. What I can say is that I could see from there to like what Rez mentioned, Go DJ, I can see like how he improved. Even though the beats on 400 Degreez, I mean he was in his bag on those, but I could see the elevation. I think what probably stunted his growth a little bit, there's something to say about people who are so limited to like the crew they come in with. I think he was so heavily Cash Money, just like KLC Beats for the Pound, with No Limit. They was just in that crew mostly, and because they didn't branch out from there, it kind of, when they either fell out with that crew or that crew declined or whatever, then they kind of declined. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Manny Fresh, man, like what they just think about Cash Money and what they were able to do. Now, not taking nothing away from Birdman, because they recreated themselves a couple of different again with Lil Wayne, and then again with Drake and Nicki Minaj, and I'm gonna give that to Baby, but they wouldn't have got to that level if they didn't get that push. And the person behind the music was Manny Fresh. Like, you could have literally took out Juvenile and put in BG or Turk or Lil Wayne even at that young age. And I think 400 Degreez, if it would have been one of their albums, would have probably did just as well because of the production of Manny Fresh.
And one thing real
Man,
quick,
rest in
Kev.
peace, man. Yeah.
Like when Jimmy said how there was an evolution on how he got better, because when he was talking, I thought about like another big song was like Bling Bling, right? Like that beat. And then it also made me think of Kev, one of our favorite songs that we used to do that on, to Get Your Roll On. That's a big difference in beat. Like Get Your Roll On beat was hard, dog.
Yeah.
Hard. But like the difference between those two, I don't know how many years was in between, but like there's a big difference in those beats. Big difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, we got to give these dudes their flowers, man. So for me, overall, I wouldn't say this album like strictly as a classic. I think it has obviously one of the greatest songs in hip hop history with Back That Ass Up. It's a wedding song. Once the song becomes a wedding song, it's cemented. But it's a lot of hood cuts on here with Rich Niggas and 400 Degreez. And then it got something that's gonna go down in hip hop history for basically creating a label. You know what I'm saying? It was that single that created a label. I mean, was so big that Jay-Z jumped on the remix. Like, that's how big that song was, man. And that got an extra push. Like, once Jay-Z, especially in that time, jumps on a remix for your song, it gives you credibility in places that people weren't looking at you before. Like, it gotta give them a look in New York to have Jay-Z on your record, man. Like, especially those days, man. So I definitely, I listen to this album pretty frequently. Like, it's always like in my rotation. At least a couple songs are always in my rotation. But listening back to it this week, it was just like, man, it took me back to those times where, like, man, Cash Money had a hell of a run, and surprisingly enough, they're still on a run because, they got the hottest rapper in the game, Drake. He's on the label, and then you got Nicki Minaj. So, like, the longevity of their label, like, you can look at Death Row. Death Row came and went. Shit, as much as I love Wu-Tang, you know what I'm saying? They came and went. I mean, Bad Boy. When's the last time anybody even checked for a Bad Boy artist? You know what I'm saying? So you got to look at it. I look at it that way. Like you said, Mac, they recreated themselves once everything flamed out with the Hot Boys and Juvenile, and BG went to jail, Turk went to jail. They made Lil Wayne the front guy, and Lil Wayne carried the label until he branched out and started Cash Money, Young Money, and got Drake and Nicki Minaj. So, like, that's big, man. That's a big for Baby and the whole crew, man. So you got to give them their flowers.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned jumping on the hot remix, that was Jay-Z's worst verse ever spit. And I think Jay-Z may be the best in music history. And that verse was trash. Like Jay-Z doesn't do well in New Orleans. When he jumped on some No Limit track, like it didn't go well. And then the same thing with this one, like like it just didn't hit. It was trash. And he probably will deny that he was even on that song. He probably would say that was a clone. I'm sure that's one of the sore spots in his career, but like it hurt my heart to even listen to it. And back then, and I jumped on Jay-Z way early. Pause. But but yeah, I was disappointed.
Was, yeah, I don't even really know too many people that even listen to the remix. Like, for what? Like the original is better. Like it's the one that I actually know most of the words to.
Well, actually, the remix was better than the original version because there's another remix.
Right.
So that other remix that had the Hot Boys on it was better to me than the original version. But I don't know why you remix something again. I guess they was like, we just gonna juice all the juice out of this hot thing.
Yeah.
And they should have stopped.
I mean, as far as
fellas, go ahead, Rich.
As far as like this album, like and I was thinking like this is a very good album. A lot of cuts you can listen to, a lot of cuts you can jam to. With these kind of artists, though, it's hard because there's not like normally like the classic albums is somebody that's like really, really lyrical, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like really hard for one of them to have a classic. Like, I mean, Lil Wayne, when he's really rapping, not just on drugs, he can put a classic album together, right? Because there's a lot of lyrics in there where you be like, you repeat it, you be like, damn, that was nice. You know what I'm saying? So like, he get the right production and he's on his game. He could put out a classic, but it's hard for like a Juvie, a BG, or somebody like that to do a classic album with their, I mean, it's rap, but like their kind of music, their genre of music. You know what I'm saying? But it's a good album though. It's a good album.
Yeah, they don't age.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Red. They
overall.
don't age well.
As an album, singles do, but not an album.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. And that's one thing about nostalgia, man. That's something like I try to, you know, when I go back and listen to albums, I try not to let nostalgia cloud my view on how I like a song now versus then. Because like when I was listening to what album was last week I was listening to 50 Cent. A lot of those songs on there, I'm like, man, I don't like this song no more, like at all. But I remember when it came out, like I used to listen to it from track 1 to track 19 all the way through because when I was re-listening to it, I knew all the words. But like as I'm listening to it, I was like, man, this song sucks. Like this is not good music. So like you said, like the singles stand the test of time. Those hardcore street records stand the test of time. It's like that, you know what I'm saying, that phrase that we use, album cuts. Like those album cuts is just not hitting. Like, and the same thing when I was listening to Dr. Dre Chronic 2001, it's a lot of album cuts on there that could go away forever. But it's a lot of classics on there. It's a lot of classic singles on there. It's a lot of hard street records on there. It's like, man, like this just ain't it though. Like just some of these songs. And that's one thing that I wanted to try to convey on this podcast is like we use the term classic so much. Like, oh, he a legend. He got this classic album, that classic album. Well, do yourself a favor, go listen to it all the way through, and tell me if you still feel the same way 10 years later. Because I'm willing to bet you don't. Because this is like, I want to say around podcast number 35 on here. I'm going to say it's only about 7 of them that I still think are classics that I've done. Like that, because for me, a classic, you got to be shooting 90%. 90% of your tracks on the album got to be dope for me to say like it's a classic. So that's just where I'm at with it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well,
I think
fellas,
nostalgia.
go ahead, Mac.
You talked about the nostalgia. To me, it's a classic if 10, 15, 20 years later, it can still recreate that for you. I feel like if you listening to it and you like it, and yeah, Back That Ass Up does that as a single. The rest of the songs, there's some songs you like, yeah, I still like it, but nah, it doesn't. You ain't listening to it. Ooh. So yeah, I agree, man. Yeah.
Well, shoot, fellas, I appreciate y'all jumping on this pod. Mac, I know you got business to take care of, man. I'm gonna let you go ahead and get to it, man. But you stay safe down there, man, and tell the family I said what's up.
Appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure, man, when I get to, chop it up with you on your podcast, man. I love what you're doing and keep going, man. I love the podcast. You the podcast king out here now.
Appreciate it, man. RDP, tell the boys I said what's up and tell them to get Cash App because it's a Cash App Christmas from Uncle Kev.
I will tell them to do that, brother. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate you having me on. I know you know that I was a Cash Money millionaire myself back then. So, I had everything that came out. I had all the big timer stuff and everything, dog. And whoo. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to say. When you hear Manny Fresh and Baby Rap, man, they're bad. They're so bad. They're so bad. So bad, dog. And I was buying big timers albums. Like I was young, dumb, and stupid back then, dog.
You was giving them their money. Giving them your money.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that's why I'm so grateful for Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal. I drop my $100 a year, and that's it. I can listen to anything I want to, and I ain't got to give up no more money, man. Back in those days, man, it's a gamble. It was a gamble back then. You had to cough up $20 to see if you like the album or not. Like, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we didn't have it really. We didn't have that kind of money.
Nah. And I mean, me working at the campus radio station, we would get albums. We would get a whole bunch of singles, but I would want the album. Or if we would get the album, it'll be clean. Who wants to listen to clean music, especially when you 19, 20 years old? Nobody want to hear clean, edited music.
Too clean music is trash. I've accidentally going real quick has added a song to Apple or Tidal, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, clean music is trash.
Man, I literally yesterday, me and the wife went to run some errands. I was like, babe, I want to just listen to the album again, and I accidentally picked the clean version. And by the second song, I was like, I can't listen to this shit, man. This is shit terrible. Like, even like before that, when they were doing cassettes, people used to make clean albums. I could do that, where like they actually just redid the whole album and made it clean instead of I can't listen to that shit. I can't listen to that shit. Like, is this nigga scratching? Say the words. It's okay. Safe space.
If you got an album without no cussing on it, though, you gonna lose me. I'm sorry, nigga. I need a motherfucker. Need some bitches in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need all of that in my music, nigga. Some clean shit is trash. I almost like my gospel music with cussing in it.
Leaves a hell in a damn.
At least
to hold on to.
Exactly.
Y'all boys, wow, man. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all jumping on the podcast, man. Y'all boys be safe.
All right, man. Had a great time. Thank you.
All right, peace.
Sure.
Peace.